Shenoah Grove. Excited to be here with you guys all tonight. We got a great some tribal knowledge in your own business as well as excited to be able to share that tribal knowledge. Excited to be able to share how Texas REIAs can help you. I will tell you guys, I did my first deal here as part of Texas REIAs, and I did my last deal here. I walked in the cut, and I'm test is kind of coming in and out. I guess. Just give me a couple of seconds and we'll get this going. Thank you. Yep, there you go. There you go. All right, guys, we're going to get this mic situation going. So here we go, guys. Thank you for your patience. So, hey, everybody who's in person with us, go ahead and have a seat and we'll get started. We may need to grab some other seats from the back. I see a bunch of big, strong folks here that might be able to help us with that at some point. So, again, everybody, welcome to Texas REIAs. We meet every single Tuesday in Austin, Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio. So excited to be here with you guys and share with you what the market looks like in terms of what we're going to be expecting in terms of the number of sales, in terms of the average price, some of the disruptions that we're facing right now as real estate investors and what we're seeing in the real estate market. We'll also share with you guys how we've pivoted in our own business over the last 24 months and share with you guys how you guys can pivot as well to make sure that you're able to not just survive, but really to thrive as a real estate investor, no matter what the market throws at you. So we have invested through some of the most interesting times, some of the most difficult times in 2008, 2009, 2010. We still did not have to go and update our resume to go back to work for anyone else, even in the worst housing crisis that I think probably anyone who is alive in this room has ever seen. And we figured it out. And we're going to share with you a lot of the different things that we figured out, both in that last housing crisis as well as in the current one that we're in right now. And some of you guys may look at it and say housing crisis. Some of you guys may look at it and say housing opportunity. I think if you're looking at it thinking opportunity, I think you're thinking correctly. Is this one ready for me? Okay, fantastic. All right, and let me give you this guy back. All right, guys, so we're going to do a quick little mic change out. I think everything's working exactly the way it's supposed to now, so thank you guys all for your patience. So, guys, we've been able to survive and thrive no matter what the market has thrown at us, and there's a lot of opportunity in this market, especially if you know how to find it, right? So what's one of the biggest problems we're facing right now as real estate investors? Inventory is the number one problem I think we're facing as real estate investors, or the lack thereof, right? The lack of inventory. So what are we doing about it? What are we doing about it? Are we building more houses?
No.
Well, we built about 10,000 more houses in 2021 than what we built in 2020. The issue is that 10,000 more houses going from 160,000 new building permits to 170,000 new building permits, does that even make a dent? No. I mean, one major metropolitan area could probably absorb that much inventory in about a month, maybe two, right? So we really need to add significantly more houses than what we have been adding. We're adding more every month, but just not enough to really push the dial. And just not enough to really kind of show up the way that we need to show up for the buyers that are moving here, for the buyers who want to buy, for the buyers who want to still take advantage of some of these low interest rates, even though I know we are in an increasing interest rate environment. In fact, the Fed is wanting to get very aggressive on that over the course of the next several months, in spite of some of the different things that are going on in the world. So some of those things are affecting us already in terms of the war. And I see a lot of you guys here in uniform tonight. So thank you all for your service who are here protecting us, protecting our country. And we've got a lot of different opportunities that are going to come as a result of that. So, one of the things that I like to explain to real estate investors when we talk about inventory, and people will come to me and say, Shenoah, there's not enough inventory for us to be able to find deals. What I will tell you is that as a real estate investor, Who are your buyers? Who are your sellers? Pardon me. Who are you typically buying from? Distressed sellers. And tell me a little bit about distressed sellers, what they want to do and what they don't want to do.
What they want to do is get rid of it as soon as possible.
So Sammy says what they want to do is get rid of it as soon as possible. Is Sammy correct? Is Sammy correct? Some of you guys are saying yes. Is anybody saying no besides me? Who do we buy from sometimes? What's our niche as real estate investors? Do the sellers that we talk to, do the homeowners that we talk to, do they always want to sell their house? Do they say, I am in distress. I have been on the foreclosure list 6 times. I don't think I want to roll the dice anymore. I think I'm ready to sell my property and you look pretty good to me. Do you think they're saying that? No. What are they saying?
They're saying everything.
I've been able to stay, so far so good. I've been able to stay here this long, right? What do I want to continue to do? I want to continue to stay. So to me, when I think about my niche as a real estate investor, I think that I buy houses from people who don't want to sell their houses. They don't want to sell their houses, but what do they need to do? They need to sell their houses. Now, are they automatically saying, yes, I'm ready, let's do this? The answer is no. So how do we get them from no, I don't want to sell, or no, I want to figure out how to stay here, or no, I'm waiting for that lottery ticket or that job or that, insert item that's probably not going to happen here. How do we make them go from not wanting to sell to even being open to it?
Offer them a solution.
Offer them a solution. Okay. What kind of solution are we offering them?
A strategy that we might be able to.
A way out. So are they thinking, what is like some of like Maslow's #1 hierarchy of needs? Think about that. What are some of our, most base level hierarchy of needs? Shelter. Basic needs. Food. Right? So what are they thinking, even if you do solve their problem, even if you do make them an offer, what are they thinking? Where am I going to go next? So what is our job as a real estate investor? To help them move past what?
Into their next home.
Into their next home. How are we going to find someone who has not made a payment on who has, what kind of credit would that be again? When they haven't made a payment for maybe 6 months, maybe a year, maybe longer? What does their credit profile look like? How many landlords are out there saying, oh yeah, pick me, I want to be your next landlord, right? What do we have to sometimes do? Please know this, guys. This is my coaching for all of you guys. The things that you got in this business to do, which I don't know about you guys, but the business that I got into when I first started investing was I got in the business of buying, fixing, and flipping houses and wanting to make money, right? That's what you guys are probably all here for, more or less, yes? Or some, type variation of that. Well, please know this, that is only what you get to do after you do everything else on this planet Earth that you had no idea that you would have to take on. What does that look like? What does that look like?
Building relationships.
Building relationships? No, you shouldn't be expected to do that. That's a given. What else? What are some of the things that you have to do that you never thought that's not in the real estate playbook? What's not in the real estate playbook? Being a humanitarian? Does that mean packing up all their stuff?
Relocation.
Does that mean putting it in a storage facility? Does that mean conducting an estate sale? Does that mean maybe moving them? Does that include getting them a U-Haul trailer? Does that include getting them a storage pod so that they can have this vision? Does that include what else? What else might that include? What else might that include? Because those were things that are not in the real estate investor playbook. Are they not? You see them in the real estate investing? No. You just see find seller, buy house, and then go in and start doing what you think your job is. What else is not in that playbook? Has anybody ever had to play like psychologist or therapist, compassionate? Yeah? What else? What else, guys? What else do you think you might have to do? Might you have to leave that person in that house for maybe a month or 2 months or 3 months? Some of you guys are looking at me saying, no, don't do that. Some of you guys are looking at me and saying, yeah, I might consider doing that. Under what circumstances might you consider doing that?
If they don't have
if they don't have anywhere to go. Is that right? That's not in the playbook, guys. That's not in the playbook. How do you protect yourself as a real estate investor if that's something that you're doing? Yeah, in some cases, is the problem the price? I think a lot of times the answer is no. The problem is, where am I going to go next? The problem is, am I going to have enough time to move out? And what do they think about you guys as the real estate investor? What do they think how are they sizing you up? Vulture. Someone said vulture? Yeah? What's worse than a vulture? That's what they think you are. Yeah, seriously, think about that, right? So what are you going to do? Some of you guys said be compassionate, right? Some of the things that we do as real estate investors, we never saw in the real estate investing playbook. Some of the things that I have done over the years, I've never seen in the real estate investing playbook that I've ever read. Sometimes you have to convince people that they need to sell even though they don't want to sell. That is our niche. And is there almost an unlimited inventory of those people? They're not on the MLS, my friends. Yeah, because why? Because let's go back to item number 0. They don't want to sell. So it's our job as a real estate investor to come up with these creative strategies to make them get to where they want to be versus where they need to be, right? So guys, I want to play a quick commercial about Texas.
Would you like to be a real estate investor in Texas? Come to one of our free local meetings to get access to free training, wholesale properties, capital, and power teams. Click on the link below to find a meeting near you and register for free.
So guys, as part of Texas REIAs, we get to meet every single Tuesday. We get to talk to investors about things that they may not have read in the real estate investing playbook, and share with them some of the different things that we've learned over investing for almost 2 decades in terms of unlocking deals, looking for what Chris Voss calls the black swan. Does anyone in here know who Chris Voss is? He's the author of Never Split the Difference. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Yeah, probably one of the top negotiating playbooks that's out there. If you're pulling it up on Amazon, yeah, if you order it now, it will be at your house in 2 hours and 37 and a half minutes. So, but Chris Voss is a former FBI terrorist and hostage negotiator. How many of you guys are thinking to yourself, well, what does terrorist and hostage negotiation have to do with real estate and real estate investing? If you're thinking, what does this have to do with real estate investing, then my guess is you've probably never talked to a motivated seller or a motivated homeowner or a homeowner who should be motivated, right? Because it's not until you do that you realize that it is almost like talking to and negotiating with a terrorist, right? And that's not to paint them in a bad light. It is just that it is it is a difficult negotiation. It is one that you've got to be prepared for. And that's why I wanted to share with you guys, again, what you got in this business to do, buy, fix, and flip houses. That's only what you get to do after you do everything else that was not on your agenda, right? And what I find is with a lot of real estate investors is they'll get really close to their first deal, right? They'll get to the 5-yard line where they can see the goalpost, right? They can visualize getting over there. But what are the hardest 5 yards that we have to make in life in general? It's those last 5, right? And the same holds true for us as real estate investors. We've got to get past those last 5, because the last 5 is ultimately where the money is for us. And my husband taught me a very long time ago, Shenoah, you're not going to get it. You worked really hard. Good job, right? I know you put on your full effort, right? Yes, some things come up. And does something always come up on these types of transactions? And the answer is yes, they do. Guys, stuff comes up even on the easy transactions, right? The stuff that's selling on the MLS, let alone the stuff that is selling on off of the MLS from a seller who might not want to ultimately sell. So I want you guys to be thinking about that, and I want you to be considerate of that, and I want you to put yourself into the shoes of a homeowner who maybe doesn't necessarily want to sell, right? And understanding that for the most part, these are the sellers that we are working with. These are the sellers that we're dealing with, and these are the sellers that we have to show up for. And we have to show up for them in different ways and solve different problems than what we thought maybe the problem was. And a lot of new investors especially are going after and looking and thinking about one thing, which is you have no choice, and here's the price. And is that what the seller is thinking? Would the seller maybe be willing to give you a better deal if you let them stay in their home and leave with dignity instead of having to pack everything up in the week or two before it's going to auction? Do you think they'd be a lot happier with you if you were able to make something work for them that had them leaving on their own terms? And the answer is yes. And again, not part of the real estate investing playbook, but a big part of what we do as real estate investors, at least for those of us who get to, you know, the finish line, right? And push past all of the stuff that comes up when you get to the 5-yard line, because that's only part of what we do in real estate. I'm curious, is anybody in here talking to a homeowner right now is struggling with that conversation? Anybody here talking to a homeowner right now struggling with that conversation, doesn't know what to say, doesn't know how to push it past the finish line? None of you guys. Any of you guys struggling with like what your next step should be as a real estate investor? What to do next? Like, anybody here learning from YouTube and thinking, gosh, I've got the ingredients, but I don't have the formula? Really? Okay, a couple of you guys. I cannot read your name. Philip, will you join me at the mic over here? Will you guys please give Philip a warm round of applause? Yeah. So Philip, tell me about where you are in your real estate investing journey.
Yeah, at the very beginning, this is the first thing I've done besides look on YouTube and just go to webinars.
Okay, like first thing you've done since looking on YouTube, going to webinars. So I do hear that a lot. So when I first started investing almost 2 decades ago, what was the thing that we do not have that all of you guys have right now? Someone says, the internet. I'm not that old, friend, but I appreciate that a lot. But it's YouTube. Yeah, it's YouTube. It's YouTube. So I didn't have YouTube, right, when I first started investing. But what's interesting is I don't know who's better off, you guys with YouTube or me just surrounding myself with other successful real estate investors that were local. So what I find is a lot of times when you're learning from YouTube, who are you learning from? Do you know where they live?
There's no credibility.
Someone says there's no credibility. I think there's a fair amount of credibility for some of them, but I don't know, right? I mean, do you get to meet them and say hello to them and touch them or almost touch them, right? Probably the answer is no. Do you know what state they invest in? The answer is probably no. So here's where that kind of irks me. Real estate is local. Your boots on the ground are local. Your realtors are local. Your MLSs are local. Your contractors are local. Your attorneys, your CPAs, right? Your insurance, they're all local. So, and even the strategies and the laws, and that's kind of the big thing that I see a lot of new investors messing up when they're learning from YouTube, which it's like, it's great. It's like, on the couch investing, right? It feels wonderful. But I think what ultimately happens is you get, like, talk to a lot of investors who will come to me and talk to me about tax lien sales. Anybody investigating that? I see some people say yes. I see someone said that they've heard of it. Here's the issue. Please turn off that YouTube channel because tax lien sales are very different here in Texas. You're not going to buy a house for $100. Here's the thing about tax lien sales. So we're in Bexar County right now. If you were to pull the tax list, about how many people do you think you would find on that tax list who are late on their taxes? Thousands and thousands. I would say here in Bexar County, probably be about 10,000 people. Well, wait a second. How late are they? How late are they? How long have they not been paying their taxes? What's y'all's guess? Somebody say a year, someone says 2 years. Guys, I bought properties from people in Texas who haven't paid their property taxes in 10 years. Yes, I know, it's crazy, right? So when you guys are learning from on YouTube, do they say anything about the homeowners who have not paid their taxes for 10 years? And the answer is no. So a lot of people come out of with this YouTube excitement and this YouTube energy and think like, yeah, let's go do this. This sounds awesome. And then what happens? The Texas market just kind of punches you in the face. And then you get burnt out and you're like, wait a second. And then this could be a few months, could be a few weeks, but in some cases you're like, well, this doesn't work. And you go back to the drawing board. Do you have that time to waste, my friend? Philip, do you have time to waste?
No.
Is now good?
I mean, it would
now
be
is good.
It would be good.
Now is good. Well, how about now?
Sure.
Yes. How about you guys?
Yes.
Yes, I know. Me too. Right now, while we're young, while my clothes are still in style, right? So it's like let's make this happen. So I love the concept, and I have a YouTube channel, right? But here is what I will confess to you about my YouTube channel. All Texas, all the time. Very proud Texan, okay? All Texas, all the time. Here's what I mean. The laws are different here than in all the other states, right? The customs are different here. Again, you've got to have those local boots on the ground to be able to push your business forward. So when I say I got my first deal at the Real Estate Investor Association, it was from another investor that I bought that deal from. And I got my last deal from the Real Estate Investor Association. It was another investor that I got that deal from. What does that tell you? Like, what are you going to find at your investor association? The contacts, the contracts, and the contractors in order to be able to push the ball forward in order to be successful. So as much as I love you guys out there educating yourselves and learning, I want you not just to have the ingredients, but I really want you to have the formula. So let me just give you a small little bit of coaching. Make sure you know who you're learning from on YouTube, because I don't want you to waste your time learning from someone who's out of state and is going to tell you to go this way. Right? And that's going to be a long route to getting from here to here, right? I don't want that for any of you guys. So that's my coaching for you, Philip, as you're getting started. So thank you, Philip. I know you didn't say it, didn't get much out, but I want to thank you for that. And guys, I also want to make sure you're aware of something that we do here as part of Texas REIAs, and that is a show. How many of you guys are watching HGTV? Something on HGTV is what brought you here tonight. Somebody, no one, none of you guys watch HGTV. Okay, so I'm about to push that button, so just give me 1 second. So I want to make sure you guys are aware that we also have a show as part of Texas REIAs. In fact, we actually have the star here, Olivia Hathaway. She's the host of Houses Flipping People. I'll share with you a little bit about what that looks like.
Houses Flipping People is sponsored by Texas REIAs, the largest network of real estate investor associations in Texas. If you have even the slightest interest in investing in real estate, come to one of our local free meetings to learn how. Click on the link below.
Okay. So guys, a little bit about Houses Flipping People. So we're really lucky tonight to have the host of Houses Flipping People with us, Olivia Hathaway. So Olivia, would you like to say anything to the folks that are here with us?
Hi everyone. The show is about the showcase of Texas REIA members that we transformed their lives as they started becoming an investor, and how much real estate had transformed their life. And I'd love to show your guys' story and how much real estate had transformed your life. So that's a little bit about the show that we're hosting right now.
Yeah, so I would say this show is a little different than most shows that you would see out there, in that most shows that you see out there very specifically focus on the house, right, and the transformation of the house. At Texas REIAs and Houses Flipping People, what we focus on is really the transformation of the person going from whatever they were doing before to becoming a real estate investor. So when anyone asks me what I do for a living, I often say that I help people quit jobs that they hate in order to do things that they love, and it feels amazing. And the people who are part of the Houses Flipping People show are folks that were sitting maybe a few months ago, maybe even a few years ago, in the exact same seats that you guys are sitting in today as part of Texas REIAs. And some of these people are now multi-millionaires, and the story of Texas REIAs is really ultimately the story of its members. So what does that look like? So we have had several members that have been successful as part of Texas REIAs, and some of those stories look like Flavia. So she's the single mom in the upper left-hand corner. So after about a year in investing, she flipped over 15 houses. She was a baker, and then COVID hit, and then what happened to her baking business? It went goodbye, right? But then she was able to sit just like you guys are today as part of Texas REIAs and be here with us. And she completely changed her life, completely changed her lifestyle. Jeff, who's up here as well, he was a Fortune 500 executive. He went from going to the boardroom every day to doing real estate and really loving it and enjoying the freedom that he got from it. Mike and Vanessa, these folks in the middle, they were contractors, and they're actually what we call the real Brady Bunch. So they've got 5 boys between them, and they all work in their business and on their houses. When we first met them at Texas REIAs, they were just renovating properties. And we got them to renovate actually many of the properties that we worked on. And then they said, as they joined and they got to know the network, what they found was there was a lot of opportunity for them to be their own real estate investors. And one of their houses, they made well over $1 million on that house, right? So
it was actually 2.4 million.
Actually, yeah. $2.4 million on that house. So all growth is part of Texas REIAs. And Rosie and Roger, I always call them Rogie, but they were realtors. They are realtors, but they knew that they could be doing other stuff in addition to just being a realtor, and jump from page 2 of the HUD or the closing disclosure statement to be on page 1, which is where the real estate investors make their money. And I think on one of their recent deals, they made over $200,000, right? That's not a commission that you typically get on a deal, but that's something that you can do as a real estate investor. And then Chris at the bottom, she's a therapist and started doing real estate investing several years ago. You've even done some deals with her as well, right? Yeah. And many more opportunities in fact, we're filming multiple members' stories as their transition from what they used to do in their life to what they do now as real estate investors. And for those of you guys who are watching online with us, you can join us next Tuesday night. Will be actually Tuesday, April the 5th, we'll be at the Austin Renaissance for those of you guys who want to spend a little time with us and meet us there as well. So thank you, Olivia, for coming up and chatting with us, and look forward to showcasing some of y'all's stories as well. So thank you guys for that. And guys, I'm going to transition to the next part of our presentation here. So thank you guys for that. And let me get that ready and going. All right, fantastic. All right. Hey everybody, Shenoah Grove here, founder of Texas REIAs. Welcome to our Real Estate Investing Association. Glad to have you guys all here with us today, and excited to be presenting to you some of the most recent market updates and the training that we've got here for you. So as we go through this presentation, I'm going to challenge you guys all to have a little bit of an open mind. We're going to be sharing stuff with you all that's worked for us over the last 2 decades, and we're going to get a little bit of time to interact with each other.